Listen, my research project is about education, and the whole thing is that people don't learn how to think. And coming back to what you're talking about, the Occupy Wall Street thing, people don't know how to think. Occupy Wall Street was a bunch of people complaining about the system, but they didn't have any solutions.
The first day I was like, this is so cool. A couple days later I was like, no one here knows what they're talking.
They don't know what they're supporting, and the reason why is because of the download-upload model. Alright, this is the infographic I've created. You got the professor, you got the textbook. Pretty much one point of view. Usually, the professor in the textbook, the professor's not going to use a textbook with which he disagrees with fundamentally. Okay, so this
You'd be surprised.
Once in a while you get a professor who'll disagree with the textbook and say, well, this portion here, he'll be part of the conservative ideology, and then he'll have to use a liberal textbook because he's at a liberal college. He has no choice, so you get 2 points of view. So the student will download information, and it's usually one viewpoint. There are exceptions to the rules, and times there's two. And the student then uploads it via tests and essays. So you're like a computer. There's a download phase and an upload phase. But every teacher knows Bloom's taxonomy of learning. There's knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Here you get knowledge and comprehension. There's a little bit of application. There's no analysis, synthesis, or evaluation.
You have to move closer. I can't see.
Alright.
I'm blind. You know that. Oh, you have two of them.
This is what I'm proposing.
Oh, okay.
It fails to cultivate higher order thinking skills. You don't learn to come to evaluations. You don't come to decisions. You don't come up with new ideas. It does not prepare students for the real world. Just read all that. You can read it. Read that out loud.
Social sciences. International
No, you don't have to read
relations.
that. Read this part.
What part?
The problems.
You did this.
This part right here. Starting here.
Fails to cultivate higher order thinking skills, does not prepare students for the real world, creates parrots. Sorry.
Creates parrots.
I'm very tired.
Come on.
People simply recite what they are told by talking heads on television, radio personalities, politicians, Hollywood celebrities. Whoop.
Hollywood celebrities.
Celebrities.
Okay.
Civic responsibilities, mind-numbing. Cults of personality, George Bush, Obama, Mitt Romney, Ron Paul, Bill O'Reilly, etc. Real cults.
Yeah, well, basically what I was going... These are like bullet points, okay? People learn the download-upload... because of this, they learn to get their viewpoint from one source. So they don't learn to actually think. They don't actually learn to look at different points of view, evaluate them, use logical principles, look at the evidence, and then reflect on it, and then come to like a rational decision.
Yes, because instead of having interaction, they're just being fed.
They regurgitate information. They don't learn how to think about things. They learn how to memorize information and then recite it back. And so this is why you have cults of personality. Cults of personality where if George Bush says it's okay, then it's okay. If George Bush says like it was okay to invade Iraq, then he's okay. Then he's right. You know, if Obama does something, Obama's a saint. Therefore, it's right. If Obama bombs Libya, well, it must have been the right thing to do. If Obama bails out the biggest banks and doesn't do anything for the medium and small sized banks, he must be correct. If he hires a Goldman Sachs lobbyist to be chief of staff to the Treasury Department, well, there must be nothing wrong with that because he's Obama, and Obama is an infallible demigod who can never do any wrong because he can give a great speech. But what I'm proposing is what is called the inquiry-based model of education, and it's underutilized. Where the opposing viewpoint series?
Well, they can't see.
Well, no, they don't have to, but I can actually superimpose the image onto the video.
I know. I was teasing you.
Okay.
I wanted you to put it to the screen and be like,
No, I have the image saved as a PDF file and as a GIF file, so if I wanted to, I could superimpose it onto the video.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, I know how to use Windows Movie Maker. I know how to use Windows Movie Maker. I'm pretty good with technology. I know what I'm doing.
Alright, please continue.
I may or may not be part of Hackers Anonymous. I'm not going to say I am or I'm not.
He's lying.
No.
Continue.
I am lying. I'm not part of Hackers Anonymous. That's just crazy. Anyway, what you would do is, in an international relations course, let's say it's the first month, I would say, okay, the U.S. is considering invading Iran. It's on the table. We're having a lot of problems. They may or may not be trying to acquire nuclear weapons. What I want you to do for the next month is to research this topic. The question is, what should the United States' current foreign policy be towards Iran? Here are 3 opposing viewpoints on the issue. 3 pages in length. They have works cited pages. They have bibliographies. Dog, ruining my podcast.
He's
and
so
then I
cute,
want you to go out and look at other viewpoints.
Okay.
And I want you to discuss with other students this thing. And college students, they love talking about things like this. If they're taking an international relations course, they're going to be going out, looking at watching different documentaries, reading different books about it, going to different websites, reading different primary source documents on it. They're going to, go online and chat with people from Iran and see what they think about it. So they're all going to be getting different, bringing in different sources, and they're going to be saying, well, one person will be like, well, I read a book about Iran, and another person is going to say, well, I was talking to a person whose father is a diplomat in Iran, and he said blah 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 blah. So instead of having a textbook and the professors as like the dogma, and you have students. It's a student-centered thing, and it's actually fun because the students are going out there acquiring information about something they actually care about. And so they develop higher order thinking skills. And what they have to do is they have to synthesize knowledge from all these different sources. Just like a researcher would. A researcher goes out and he studies all the different knowledge about the subject. He looks at all the different sources. And then he gathers this information. And then he evaluates it based on, he uses logical thinking. He understands each fact checks things. He looks what's more likely, what's less likely, what sounds like the best solution. What can we learn from history? What did we learn from Iraq? And some students would know about the invasion of Iraq, and they would make an analogy. Well, when we were looking to invade Iraq, they also said that Saddam was going to develop had developed WMDs and developed nuclear weapons, and it turned out he didn't. And now it's a big joke, and this could be a similar situation, and you might make that analogy if you knew anything about Iraq, which some students would.
Most people wouldn't. America. This is the difference
some
between.
Students would.
This is the difference between America's education. This is the difference between American education and, let's say, if you go over to Europe.
No.
In Europe, you're not hearing me. You don't even know what I'm talking about.
Go ahead.
Okay, in Europe, for example, you are taught, my father was born and raised, went through the Irish school systems, and in Europe you learn about every other country, and the last country that you learn about is Ireland. When you go to America, schools, public schools, which I went to myself, I'm sure you did, you learn about America. By the time they actually start teaching you world history or any kind of culture other than American history, you are 16, and at the age of 16, you are actually able to drop out, which means that the amount of people that drop out, which our counties have one of the highest dropout rates, you don't even know anything about anywhere else, And because of this,
contemporary, even grade school students, my sister's 12, and
they tell you that there are other places.
She studies ancient civilizations.
Yeah.
But
how much is that going to help us in modern day?
Not very much.
Not very much. Now, if we were to learn, that completely represents America's whole attitude towards the rest of the world. Just the way that we're taught since children.
Yeah.
We are taught to think about ourselves first and then everyone else. But the thing is, there's an entire world out there that most people that don't even think about, worry about, know about. Most people that I meet, just even in New York City, even South Jersey, New York City, I've been to even Canada. Their school system's the exact same as ours, and they're taught to worry about us now, here, this moment, and then everything else is just bleh. Consequential, and I mean, because of that, we have people that are born, raised, and die in the same areas, in the same counties, and they never see anything else of the world, and it makes ignorant people.
Well, yeah, schools are designed to create American schools, they want to create good Americans. They want to create
Good Americans.
good Americans. They want to create systems of the world that like study other countries, and I mean, besides, unless you take like,
There's shoes on my wire.
but there are courses in which you study foreign cultures. But yeah, I mean, much of it is socialization and teaches you to become a part of the American culture, the American system. But that is one of the things you would address by moving towards an inquiry-based learning instead of a didactic download-upload model, allowing students more freedom
I completely agree with you.
to go out and look at different points of view at things and consider before decide who they vote for, and what they believe about Iran, what they believe about Libya, what they believe about North Korea, which North Korea. I forget his name. I know Kim Jong Il died, but I can't recall the name of his son who now runs it. You have to look at every side of the issue. What is the best policy? What is the best way to take care of this problem? And in psychology, you would ask which type of psychotherapy is best suited for treating a particular type of mental disorder. Pick one. ADHD, depression, anorexia, narcissistic personality disorder. The one I have. I don't think it's a disorder.
We're speaking to a victim.
It works pretty well for me. I think it's pretty. I'm going to say it's a disorder. I think it works pretty well for me. I think
You're killing me, Smalls.
I'm narcissistic, but I don't think it's a disorder. I think it's functional narcissism. So things works out pretty well.
That's debatable.
It doesn't hurt.
Alright, I have to use your phone.
My
Podcast.
phone, I lost my phone.
Over.
Anyway, yeah, podcast over.
I need to use someone's phone.
Well, you can use my mom's phone.